Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back to the canyon. Welcome back to another installment of whatever this turns out to be. We're gonna start off trying to keep thoughts categorized. It's gonna go right out the window. This is a quick view in its overarching theme, but at the same time, I would classify this as the worst type of quick view. As you know, we're going to get very temporal. We like to date the video. It's been raining. It's been raining a lot. And I spent the better part of a day installing the part that this video is about. There is no footage of it. I took some pictures of the weights of we're doing the G2 axle, the full axle, not just the knuckles, the high clearance portal axles for TRX-4. And why this is the worst kind of quick view is A, you don't get to see any of the installation taking place, and B, we're installing the axles. We have installed the axles on a vehicle that has little to no stock parts left. She is still a TRX-4 Sport, Daphne, but we've replaced nearly everything. I mean, the amount of original parts that came from the Sport kit are not there. Why is that relevant? Well, I would say that if I were to do it in one sitting, if I were to look at it all as one process, to install these axles, which I think look absolutely brilliant because of the integrated hangers for the links and the shocks, we just get a straight tube. And then the portal boxes are beautifully done. And in the front, it's beautifully done. We have the two Ackerman positions. We are doing the Ackerman steering, which is why it looks weird now. The inside wheel turns far more than the outside wheel. It was 3.5 hours to get these installed. Look how good that tube looks. And look how good the clearance is. It was 3.5 hours during which I had to replace the tie rod, the drag link, the panhard, the front upper. I was replacing hollow balls. I feel like most of it was due to the fact that we were diving into some. If you've got a TRX-4 Sport sitting on your workbench and you want to install the G2 Wilderness axle set, they are bolt on. It's plug and play. I had to grind the inside of the rear diff cover because I don't know if you'll be able to see it. There's a little different colored line there. You might be able to see the one in the front better. There's a little different colored line there. They provide to you gaskets, and I have a extra one. Here we are. Because the rear has the underdrive gear, they include for you 4 of these gaskets. Supposed to be 2 front, 2 rear. With the 33 tooth in the rear and 2 of these in place, if I tightened the cover screws down all the way, it would kind of grind. So when I ground it out a little bit with an aluminum cutter on the inside of the diff cover, it completely stopped. So therefore, I have an extra. In the front, which is just running the stock Sport spool with gear, it was no problem. Put the 2 spacers on, put all the screws back in, ready to go. So, this is a direct bolt-on for most of you. If your TRX-4 already has a fair amount of stuff done to it, it's going to take you a little while longer. In the rear, just I had to grind for the underdrive, but other than that, the fitment is great. The shocks are perfectly straight up and down. The link positions are right where they should be. You don't have to do anything special, really. If you're running underdrive, I would recommend right in this line. Right in this line where the gear is, you can take a little bit out of the cover, and it will clear a little better. Now in the front, and I need to point this out, and I neglected to grab a housing. Here's the front housing. Okay, here's her front housing. So here is the upper link mount, and then right here would be the bolt-on jobby, right? Panhard mounts right there. So if we take the body off here so we can see, get a little more light under there, and we're going to make sure not to bang Velma off the desk. You can see that on this, the Panhard mount is all the way out just inside the kingpin. They provide you it comes with all the hardware, and they provide you a new Panhard link because your Panhard is much longer. Now, in every other build that I've ever done, and I would classify it as every other, I think this Panhard is 12 millimeters longer than the other one. In every build that I've done, getting the relationship of the length of the drag length to the length of the Panhard is fairly critical. And it's not going to be possible on this. You can see, here's the attachment point for the servo. The Panhard attaches way over there. And here's this and this. There is still a decent length disparity. I want to say it's about 8 millimeters. This is full droop. And when we go straight up, there is 2 millimeters of axle sway, and it goes in the curve. It goes in an arc. So it starts to that side, comes up, and goes back to that side. No bump steer at all. So GRC is German, and you know how the Germans are, what with the math. So somebody thought this out. The axles fit beautifully. We can pop a wheel off here so that you can see. These are cast. All of the outers are all machined, and they're beautifully machined. The bearings fit nicely. Everything goes together well, unless you have stuff that's highly modified, and then you have to account for that high level of modification. They are quite a bit heavier. We're living in real time right now, which goes like, I bring up photos, I go back to the photo that I took. So the stock front axle, and now there'll be that picture that I'm looking at right now. Basically same configuration. We had alloy bits and the skull cover on this exact housing right here, and it was 118 grams. So it had weight added to be 118. The front just housing, because the C-hubs are built in, with the front cover was 191 grams. So we're adding about 70 grams in the front, no other parts added, and then the fully assembled front axle, this axle that you're looking at right here, is 574 grams, which is like 1.2 pounds, almost 1.25 pounds. It is not an insignificant amount of weight for an axle. And I had one other picture. Yes, the complete rear axle that used to be on here. Imagine this, but with guts in it. This is Daphne's stock rear axle. This fully assembled with all of the bits to hold the tires on and everything, 219. And this axle, right out of the bag with nothing in it, was 236. So 17 grams heavier with nothing in it. So we're adding quite a lot of weight. And it's unsprung, which is where we want to add weight. And it's the best kind of weight, which is unsprung and not rotating. Perhaps even more important than the amount of weight itself is the fact that now that the axle tubes are just smooth. And the clearance is excellent. Because you can see on these, like, this is not conducive to good ground clearance. And even on the plastic, you can see across these, we've got where it beefs out to put the screws on. And because we don't need that anymore, the tubes are just straight. Same with the rear. So the departure should be great. This is a little smoothed out. I think they'll be great. All of a sudden, like, Zoidberg got Oh, and you want to talk about here? It's like, here's what I'm talking about. Here's why it takes 3.5 hours to get this into this configuration. I swapped the wheel weights over. There were 4 TRX-4s involved in this whole process, which also helped on the time. All of her bits that were on here got unbolted and bolted onto the Tranquish. These came off of Diablo. Diablo got her wheel weights because she's picking up axle weight. These trail way less, but they're all black, so they kind of matched. Because I went to these, and these have a recess, the back of the wheel would no longer fit. I don't know how well you'll be able to see it, but if you can see it, you can see it. Oh, yeah, you can see it. Look at the size of that hub, and then look at the size of that hub. Just the amount of meat that's outside the screw. I had to take these to the lathe and turn them down about 2.5 millimeters so they would fit inside the wheel weights. So that's the kind of thing I'm talking. Oh, and you can get a look at. So these are the GRC aluminum. I want to know what these 2 screws are for. So you can just bolt you could literally take the stock box and just bolt them in. But these are so pretty. I mean, why wouldn't you build them? So, it is still super gross outside. It is super gross, and it is super wet, and it's honestly, it is pretty cold because we're in a break in the rain. Hopefully, we're in a break for the rain in the next couple weeks. I have so much painting to do that it's irresponsible. But, we're not testing a tire here. We're not testing anything here. She had GRC brass. No, she had GRC aluminum in the front. I apologize. The GRC aluminum is now on the Tranquish. It just swapped straight over. So it's not like we're not going to use GRC when we've got GRC. So her front clearance will have changed a tiny little bit. Like how well the axles clear should be a little bit better because you can see the strike points. You can see where things hit. And like we're not going to be able to hit on this anymore because that part is gone. It's just smooth across there now. The fitment of the diffs and everything, the relationship of the diff and the pinion, exactly like stock. All of the little parts, like the locker element, there's a little plug with a C-clip that goes on here. So for when you don't have a locker cable, everything fits perfectly. It all quite literally went together perfectly. Now, yeah, I've said it, and I will reiterate, it took hours to get it done because Daphne is not, for the longest time, I used to say, oh yeah, she's just a TRX-4 Sport. She's absolutely not. And, the one part that you missed out on that I wish you could have been a part of was, before we get this plugged up, you can see that her motor has some odd shiny bits going on right here. The front end now, this is a Samix link for a 10.3, and ordinarily I'm not a crinkly panhard link guy, but we have no interference all the way up. So Daphne has that canyon suspension that people like, where when you set her down, she goes, psst, and she goes straight down. So when I set her down, if we look at it from the side here, the motor was actually hitting the front drive shaft because she's just flexing that much more than she was before. So that was why I had to fabricate a new upper link. This is her old panhard bar. So I do apologize. So I had to flip that around. The front end feels absolutely butter smooth now, and it has been driven nowhere other than on the floor. And when I was driving it on the floor, that was when I discovered that when I would throw her into reverse, I'm in low. When I would throw her into reverse, it would make a absolutely horrific noise. And when you've just installed axle housings, you think, oh no, I'm grinding a gear into pieces. And right as I was getting the tools out to start disassembling the front end, I looked at the motor and noticed that it's got some shininess that it didn't used to have. Basically, she would be perfectly served by like the Rhino S20, a little bit shorter. This is her Oh my God. Daphne is one of the Canyon OGs. This is her fourth, maybe fifth motor. So there's no saying, and the original AG Innovations Ninja, no longer made. There's no saying that she won't have a sixth one. I also, you'll see, there's a bolt right here. Turns out that under flex, the old upper link, I think I already put it away. The old upper link had, you see that right there? That was from rubbing on the head, the nut. It was rubbing on the nut. So that little bit, she feels so much more fluid in the front end now, and it was, you know, like who looks for that? Well, somebody does. I don't. We're not going to even pin it. We're just going to we're going to tuck this up in here somewhere so it's not in the tire. There we go. We're going to drive this around. She's going to get muddy. We're not testing a tire or anything, so we can't say, oh, well, it was the environment. Daphne the Sport is not. I mean, it's not. I'm trying to think what's left. And I think her universal shafts and her front spool. And I think in the rear, the little stubs that connect. So like the portal input gears and the stuff. We're talking maybe 8 to 10 pieces from the original TRX-4 Sport kit that she was built out of. But she was my favorite RC car. When people ask me if you could only keep one, if you had to make the ultimate Sophie's Choice Ultimate, it would be Daphne the Sport. She's elegantly simple. She does not operate under the start with a lightness philosophy. Those axles look fantastic. She is great to drive. Okay, she was great to drive, and I just assume that it's going to be better. Let's hope that it's better. So let's go get, you know, not too muddy, but there's no way we don't get a little bit muddy. It is very wet here in Southern California. We've gotten 6 months worth of rain in 3 days, and currently about 150 feet to the north, someone is using a leaf blower. You can guarantee that if it's not absolutely pouring rain at that moment, someone is using a leaf blower. Today is no exception. I do love the groundhog. I love a groundhog. Oh, yes. You might be saying, well, what about the drive back? I'm doing the full lock here to look at the turn circle. So your turn circle gets a little wider. A little wider, not a lot. Oh, that lined us right up. That lined us right up for the pull-up. Still a little damp. We'll just shuttle around. Then we'll kick it back this way to the right. When you are not, I think, this is speculation, but I think I know what the Ackerman steering is for. It's for everybody except pure rock crawling. On flat ground, the drive back, I could feel the difference. Like, it tracks so smooth and so straight. I apologize. You don't have that hyper sharp turn in. Boy, we do have some stability though. It's okay, here's the thing. Hot take, potential hot take. Zero Ackerman steering doesn't feel natural. I think to all of us that have actual experience holding a wheel that is, you know, slightly bigger than this wheel, we Ackerman steering. Every car has Ackerman steering because they need to be able to go around things like corners. So this feels very natural. She sounds better than ever as well. Yeah, like right here, just, oh, She would ordinarily just brush across the side of ye old Tonka, but a little wide. Now, the TRX-4 axle is not renowned for having the most steering angle anyway, but this is beyond acceptable. Oh yeah. Yeah, she's real good. Let's reverse straight into position here. We'll go for this little hack right here. Had a little push out. I don't know if I'll be able to pull that tire up. Little belly hang there, come across. Okay, there it is. All right, I need to try to get this tire right there. Oh! We're definitely having to account for the wet. But yeah, this is fantastic. I thought it would feel like a little bit different. I was like, oh, well, you know, there'll be a little bit of change here and there. And then I had the other part of my brain was like, dude, your whole front geometry changed. You lengthened your panhard by 1/2 inch, and the placement on the axle is different than it was before. I'm feeling it. Oh, you get that, the stability. Okay, so we had experienced this thing before. If you'll recall far back to the Colonel Mustard, when he broke his AR-45P panhard, because prior to the evolution that became the base camp, the panhard mount on the axle was a single shear panhard, and you would just snap it right off the axle. Everybody did it. So they have to get the little aluminum piece that my brain is, G-Speed. They had to get the little G-Speed aluminum piece to stiffen it up. So before we replaced his axle housing and got the G-Speed piece, we did there's an episode out there called Kingpin Panhard, where I literally just attached his panhard bar to the Kingpin, and I was like, you know what? It's not bad. It's certainly not terrible. This is pretty close to Kingpin Panhard. Is there some unexplored advantage that we should have been looking at in relation to the panhard being so long relative to the axle, and even longer relative to the drag link? Because on many front ends, if that relationship is not tight, it's pretty much always a bump steer issue. So I just feel like we're somewhere in between not following a set of rules, or we're following a different set of rules. Okay, this is a way right-hander. That tire is so wet. I don't know. Did the groundhog get tested before we were doing wet ramp? Before we were doing wet rock? I don't know if it was that interfacing bolt that was causing that little hang up on the front link, but she feels unusually sprightly for a vehicle that weighs what she does. She is fitted with a 2-speed gearbox, and it is the near perfect realization of a 2-speed gearbox. Her first gear speed is perfect. It is a slow walking pace. Her second gear speed is ludicrous, which is how a TRX-4 gearbox should be. But I would definitely trade that 2-speed for dig. I know that someone had confabulated a dig unit that fits on the back of the TRX-4 box, but it is A, wild, and B, there's a bunch of 3D printed parts on it, and I was like, no, I don't think I will. What people should be doing is making some kind of adapter plate that just adapts an existing dig unit to the back of the TRX-4 gearbox. Not that I want to tell other people how to do things. She feels so fluid. Yeah, if stability is an award, she is winning that award. It is wildly stable. And I have to think that adding, what are we guessing here? 150 grams on the axle, so pretty much as low as you can get it. Her wheels have 0 added weight. We are doing all right. All right, let's see what we got. This is a risky one, as I really can't see what I'm doing coming in from the other side. We get this little drop down right here. I talk about grip. Oh, that rear is super light. That rear is super light. Should have entered it. Can we stay on the side hill? Oh, yeah. A 2-speed gearbox is only as good as your memory to use it. And I did not remember to use it, so we skidded around the ground a little bit there. I'm basically trying to evaluate Ackerman steering on a crawler. The axles are fantastic. There's probably going to be little to no scrape marks on these axles. Oh, that's so stable. That is so stable. The one-hander? Can we do the one-hander? Oh, for sure. 100%. Yeah, this was like installing Velcro. It does make me think, though. Ooh, that's light. Turn it down. There we are. Turn it back up. Yeah. Never out of shape. Just right there. So predictable. My goodness. And I gotta say, in that shot right there, look at that axle. That's a good looking axle. I was worried. If there was one thing I was worried about, it was that how much Daphne DNA was hiding inside that skull diff cover. I don't know. Not much, I guess, because she drives every bit as good as she looks. Like this upturn right here, she feels a little bit like cheating because she's a, giant air quotes TRX-4. Do a little front 9, back 9. We'll just pick up a couple gates. This is a favorite of mine because it's really about ability to maintain a position. You've got to get into a very precise line here. And it's also going to tell us whether or not that front diff cover is going to clear up over this right here. We need to stay as close to the high marker as possible. Oh, look at it lift over. Lift and slide, lift and slide. Oh, we had it. I think it's doable. I don't think the entry line was too low. Kind of tire gets pushed along. Then we got to cut through here. Now I feel like my entry was not as good on the second one. I need that passenger front to stick. I need it to pull us. It's not pulling us. Yeah. All right. Try much more straight in. Yeah, this entry already looks better. Now it's going to push nose because that overhang is right there. So we got to try to turn in as early as we can. And again, this still relies almost entirely on that front hooking. Oh, did we get the hook? Did we get the hook? Oh, I want dig right now. I think I'm well inside that, and I'm just getting some parallax. Yeah, I'm well inside that. These axles are pretty good. These are pretty good. Gate 4, better known as Judy, is a real telling one because the random layout of the rock here wants to push you into the waiting arms of Judy. You need to stay up on the stripe side, kind of as much as you can, but the bite is a little further. Okay, now we don't want to drop. When I get to right there, I feel like I've made it. We've got some slip back. Yep. I'm going to blame that on the wet. Y'all can blame that on whatever you want. I'm going to blame it on the wet. And every time I back down off of the obstacle and then try it again, the tires get a little more crumb donut. So, oh, yes. Am I noticing that? Okay, we're gonna try. I don't think I can maintain it out that far left. Okay, you want to hug it? You want to hug it? Yeah, there's no drop back right there. It's just a matter, I need to get this tire over right there. Now, do we have enough grip with the sand on us? Need to keep that front end down. Come on. Bite for me. Bite for me. Little more. Jockeying it. Little more. In these conditions, I don't know if this is an outright just testimonial for RC 4-wheel drive Groundhog 2s in our beloved X2 SS compound, but no axle touch. Like, it was just through. All right, you know what I'm going to do? I could drive this until the batteries run dry because Daphne is the business. We're going to do, this is Judy, which is gate 4. We're going to go over to Hans Booby, gate 5, and then I've got a little 2 section I want to hit at the back 9. And then I will grant you all your freedom. Hans Booby is unabashedly a portal line. Hitting this with straight axles, you've got to be just right. Yeah, the turning circle is wider. It's not crazy wider. It's just perceptibly wider. We need to get this tire here, and then we need to pull us around, and then I need to get this tire right here. Ooh, that was slippery. All right. Look at the condition of the groundhogs, if you will. So up on there. Try to not turn back as soon because we have to accommodate for the crumb donuts. I think our crumbliness is really going to bite us when we get up onto that smoothness up there. Daphne in high gear is an absolute self-right master. She self-rights maybe faster than anyone on a tire that is pretty determinedly scale looking to me with little to no side lug. Look at that rear tire pulling over, and there's nothing in the way of side lug. Now right here, I gotta work against myself. She has enough drive here that I'm basically getting into a position that I don't want to be in. I need to dig. I need to be able to swing this front end over a little because I'm overloading the low. Okay, nope. This is like a Cliff Notes version of rock crawling. The information is relayed so quickly. She feels the same, but she feels so much better. And they in the industry, in the literary industry, particularly in journalism, they have a thing called burying the lead, which is you've got, and that's LEDE, which is the most pertinent information. We're just going to tuck that away. The G2 knuckles are about $70 US in aluminum. They're about between 85 and 90 in the brass. I bought these from the GRC store. You think we can get over the top of that ball? She gone. The pair of axle housings was $111. So for what you get, I think we're doing real good. It's this stuff. It's the counter steering around. I want to see. Do we have enough? Yeah, it feels so fluid. We're not through that until we're through it, though. Is there still a ball on that? I can't tell. Did I knock it off? No. Are we going to get past the other stripe? Oh, come on. Come on. We were there, right? We were definitely there. If you get the right angle on this one should bite you in the butt right at the end. Where ooh, you saw the slide, right? Yeah. That is slide by design. Kind of have to take it diagonally, and then we want to cut. I want to get down there. I want to get right there, and I want to cut back, and I want to body pivot. I want to body pivot. The goal here is not to use a reverse. Yeah, but if we use a reverse, we can just put ourselves right in exactly into position. You want to get up pretty high because, again, on a dry day, this is very slippy. Also helps you if you're a bit closer so you can actually see. Kiss, kiss, kiss. No, that's gonna pop. oh no! Oh no! Aye! You know what? Here's what I have to take into account. We don't even have 20 minutes of wheeling on these. I have some familiarity with the G2 hub, but not with the Ackerman steering, which I think I like. I think I like this. We've got G2. This may require further investigation. We might have to switch Diablo over to some G2 with the Ackerman on him. He's already on brass G2s. Yeah, there's something about it, you know? All right, G2 Wilderness. Again, this is a terrible quick view because what's not to like? I had to grind a little off the rear gear cover, and aside from that, that was the end of like what I would deem necessary modification. They could have just pooched it out a little bit more to clear. Maybe they never test fit it with the underdrive gear. I don't know. Anyway, I don't consider that to be a negative. I've had to modify so many parts to fit. Her front bumper mount is a rear bumper mount cut, turned around inside out, and modified to fit a bumper that was made specifically for that bumper mount. So if I have to take 30 seconds with a Dremel to grind out the inside of a gear cover, it doesn't faze me at all. And there you go. In some of the packaging, it said GRC G2 Wilderness, so I'm just calling them the GRC Wilderness axles, and they are Canyon certified. Ooh, I brushed that top one and didn't knock it off. They're great. Daphne is elevated, and Daphne is well and truly. She's right there. She's right there in the this one might be done category, except maybe her motor. If I could actually go down, and I'm going to look through Rhino, and if I can get an S20, the more torquey S20, in an, like, I think she's in a 1470. If they have a 1400, then she's done. Then she'd be done, because that'd probably be the perfect motor. So she thanks you. I thank you. The myriad number of puddles out here. We all thank you so much for joining us here in the canyon for this. Close enough as to approximate a quick view of the GRC G2 axles. I kind of love them. I kind of knew I would. So is it really a fair review? I don't know. I think they're excellent. Oh, let's take a peep here. What do we look like underneath? I see one little nick on the front, and there's where we pull on the rear. Not bad. Not bad at all. That my official review of these axles. Not bad at all. So, In between now and when we meet again, I'm running out of time on this file. Please, one and all, do your very best. Have a good one, everybody. We'll catch you next time from the canyon. This thing is going to auto stop, 51, 52. You can do 29 minutes and 59 seconds on a single file on this, and then it clicks off.